Hello, 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 beautiful people. Come on in, come on in. I'm going to start in like 2 minutes maybe. Let you guys trickle on in, get a couple of shares in. What's up, what's up, what's up? Come on in, come on in, come on in. We are going to be talking about finances today, so come on in. Get your shares in, share this stream, share this stream. Hello, hello. I don't bite, so, comment on in the chat, hello to me. I know y'all hear me. I see y'all. Hello, hello, hello. I'm going to get started. All right. So, hello, beautiful people. This is RoyalTEA with Queen Candace of the Queen Blueprint LLC. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about the tea on Juneteenth. But first, I want to introduce who the heck I am, because I am a brand new face to Young Boss Media, unless you've been paying attention to Make Lemonade. So, a little bit of introductions to the flow of things. Then I'm going to talk about what's significant about Juneteenth in terms of finances. And then we're going to get into a little bit about the economic divide, right? Which is what it's all about. So who the heck am I? Right? So like I said, I'm Queen Candace of the Queen Blueprint LLC. I established my business in order to help the Black community with financial freedom, financial planning, financial therapy. I myself actually was able to get myself out of $50K debt. Yes, 50 with a couple of zeros after it. $50,000 in debt. And in the year 2018, I was able to finish paying off 20K of that debt, establishing my business to assist others in the Black community to do the same, because we are not really that much guided on finances, right? And one of the things that I figured out was that it was as much an emotional mental health issue as it is a financial literacy issue as well. And so I did go and get diagnosed for those kinds of things. And then I trial and error to figure out how to pay off my 50K debt. So in 2018, I went on ahead and I established the Queen Blueprint LLC to help others get out of their financial situations, establish a healthy relationship with money, right? Because having money, using money as a tool, those things require a healthy relationship, right? And then also in that same calendar year, I did go on ahead and purchase my first home at the age of 26. So that is who I am, right? And now I'm going to tell you a little bit about what this TV show, what this broadcast is going to be about. So royal what? What exactly is RoyalTEA, right? And so RoyalTEA is actually an acronym. So it's TEA, right, on the end, because it stands for Teaching Economic Advocacy. And basically what this bi-weekly show will be about is informing the Black community and diaspora on government policies, procedures, and programs that affect our finances on a global, national, local, and individual level. And I want this show to not only be about me revealing and teaching things to you, but for it to be a resource for you, right? So if you have any financial questions or you want an answer to how the funds in your community are actually being used, please reach out to me by DMing or inboxing me at The Queen Blueprint or emailing admin@thequeenblueprint.com. So we're going to get into our actual programming for the day. So why is Juneteenth so important, right? There's a lot of people, I know you've been hearing it a lot this week, in the last maybe week and a half, like, okay, so if I'm a Black person and I'm supposed to know what the heck Juneteenth is all about, what is that thing, right? So while technically the Emancipation Proclamation had freed slaves living in the Confederacy on January 1st, 1863, it wasn't until Union troops actually arrived in an area that the law started to be enforced. And so it was June 19th that the Black residents of Galveston and later communities across the country began celebrating as the anniversary of their freedom. So Black folks, right? You and me, Black folks, really didn't become free until this beautiful day we call Juneteenth. And I just want to throw out there that I'm proud of Governor Cuomo for stepping up and signing a bill to recognize this as an actual holiday. So not only is Juneteenth important to us because it signifies our physical freedom from slavery, but it's where the shift of racism began turning from being an outwardly seen phenomena to an inwardly silent issue. And thus was born the economic divide, right? So I'm going to share with you how deeply rooted racial bias exists in personal finance, as well as provide you with some ways to shrink the gap, right? So we're not only going to be talking about a couple of the issues, we're going to be talking about how the heck do I reverse this, right? Because that's essential, that's crucial. We want action, we want progression, we want movement, right? So, alrighty. So the first one we're going to talk about is loan approvals, right? So according to statistics provided by lender data nationwide, Black applicants are rejected at more than double the rate of non-Hispanic white applicants on all types of loans. So this is why it's important to bank Black, right? So we hear all of these great things about, hey, you should be banking with Black people. You should be keeping the dollars circulating within the community. But why is that so important? And here is the actual evidence of it, right? So if you go to a white bank, it's more likely for you to get rejected by them because they don't understand your status. They don't understand your real plight. And, they're really just trying to get over and keep the dollars circulating within their community. And so your loan approval may not go through. So building up our own economy means that we'll be able to support our own brothers and sisters in whatever financial endeavor they may have or crisis, right? Because sometimes you go to the bank not for like positive things. Sometimes it's just like, man, I messed up and I need like a debt consolidation loan. Debt consolidation loans are very, very hard. I'm finding, at least like with my Black clients, that like it's almost impossible to get them. And this is supposed to be something where you're just supposed to talk to the, actual person at the bank and be like, hey, bruh, I'm in debt. Could you help a sister out? And they're just supposed to be like, yeah, sure. As long as it's used for this reason, we'll provide you with this amount of money. But I'm finding it very, very hard to get my Black clients approved for these debt consolidation loans. And so this is crucial with the Banking Black movement, because if you are in a crisis like this and you go to a Black bank, it's like, oh, okay, I understand what's going on. I understand the racial economic gap. So I will assist you. I mean, not with no problem, right? You will have certain stipulations, but you are more likely to get approved from that Black bank. A lot of people ask me what Black bank would be good to go with. The really big trending one right now, which has been trending for about, I want to say the last year, maybe year and a half, is One United Bank. They are completely Black owned and operated. And they're actually, I just went on a live earlier today, and the owner was talking to like a regular person on her like IG live, and someone was asking him like, how come you're not public, right? Like, how come your actual bank isn't like within the stock market where we can actually buy stocks? And he said something very great. He said, I want to keep it individual. I want to keep it private so that I can do what I want, which is support my people, right? I don't have to answer to a board. I don't gotta, make up, like have to follow all of these stringent regulations that will keep my people from actually using my bank. And I thought that was very important. So when you bank Black, I want you to make sure that it is actually owned and operated by a Black person, because just because it's operated by a Black person doesn't mean it's actually Black owned, right? So the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is payday loans. So along the same lines, Blacks are charged at a substantially higher interest rate than non-Hispanic white applicants, right? So payday loans are for those who are in an emergency situation, that were unprepared, or their money doesn't stretch from paycheck to paycheck. So this is why it's very crucial to learn what options there are, what options you may have, and how to budget properly, and how to create a comfortable cash flow. That's what you want, right? So yes, payday loans are there for emergency situations, but if you become financial literate, but if you actually understand how to create a budget and things of those nature, you can actually create that cash flow where you don't actually need a payday loan. But in the cases that you do need a payday loan, again, I'm going to say, please, please, please bank Black. Because what happens is that if you don't, and you go to those non-Black banks, you are actually getting that loan at a substantially higher interest rate. And that's not what you want, because interest compounds on top of interest. And payday loans are shorter termed, right? So it's like, okay, you couldn't pay me this month, I'm gonna need you to pay me in like 3 weeks or something like that, or 2 weeks. Payday loans are shorter terms. It's not like you're getting a car loan where it's a couple of years where you could pay it back. Nope, it's within a couple weeks, generally within the month. And so having that higher interest rate just continues to perpetuate a debt cycle. It continues to perpetuate a state of dependency on that actual loan. And if you have a payday loan with a high interest rate, it just digs you deeper and deeper and deeper into debt. And that's something we definitely want to avoid. We want to leave a legacy of wealth, not a legacy of debt, right? So the next issue is court fees and bail bonds. So the system makes quite the buck, right? By arresting those that aren't in an economic position to defend themselves, right? So according to prisonpolicy.org, as of 2002, which is actually the last time the government collected this data nationally, which is kind of crazy, right? We're all the way in 2020. You guys haven't updated your data yet. So about 29% of people in local jails were unconvicted. That is, they were locked up while awaiting trial or another hearing. And nearly 7 in 10, which is 69%, of these detainees were people of color. So with Black, that's 43%, and Hispanic, that's 19.6%. And defendants especially overrepresented compared to their share of the total US population. Since then, pretrial populations have more than doubled in size, and unconvicted defendants now make up about 2/3, which is 65%, of jail populations nationally. Prisons make money off of how many prisoners are in the jail, right? So what can we do? Everyone should be educated on their rights, not just lawyers. I'm guilty of this as well, like just assuming what laws are, what they contain, and those kinds of things without actually knowing the concrete answer. And we have to start protecting ourselves and our own. So big kudos to Colin Kaepernick on establishing the Know Your Rights camp to educate us on this matter. So we have those resources out there to teach us our rights and to do a legal sidestep, right, to get us out of those predicaments. So you can go to knowyourrightscamp.com to learn more about Colin Kaepernick's program and things of that nature. But staying out of jails, because we all know that schools and other things are a direct pipeline into the prison system, and they make money off of our bodies, right? They make money off of making sure that Black people are inside of the jail. And that's why, you see a lot of these arrests now in COVID-19, right? It's like, oh man, I coughed the wrong way. Get in the jail, you arrested, right? Why? Because that's how they make money. And remember, at the beginning of COVID-19, they were releasing prisoners because it was too overly populated for them to do social distancing safely. So in that respect, you already know what's conjuring up there. Like, they trying to get us in there so they can make some more money off of us, right? So the next thing is salaries and promotions. So we're all aware of the wage gap, right? And according to the Economic Policy Institute, that gap is 34%. So whites are paid at least 34% more than their Black counterparts. And promotions? Yeah, right. Forget about it. Even in equal opportunity, whites are far more likely to receive a raise than Blacks are in the workplace, right? So I want you to really listen to me on this. I'm not saying you have to become an entrepreneur, right? Because entrepreneurship ain't for everybody. That's just the honest to God truth. It ain't for everybody. But what you do want is to have multiple streams of income. So no one, and I mean no one, right? And I heard this from a white person. So, some kind of validity to what they out there doing, right? So no one becomes wealthy from one source of income. A lot of Black people think, okay, well, if I can get into a really good career and I can make this certain amount of money, then I'll be wealthy. No, you'll be comfortable within the middle class, but you will not be wealthy, right? So it takes multiple streams of income to actually become wealthy and start creating that generational wealth where, they'd be like, in the rap songs, they're all like, oh yeah, my money long. Like, this is what it means to have your money long, not to be rich and be really flashy, but to have money that can reach beyond you, beyond your death, beyond your passing, and get to those other generations that you may never even get to meet, right? So passing on that legacy of generational wealth. So start thinking about where and what you're comfortable with getting involved in, be it stocks, real estate, or if you don't want to become an entrepreneur, just being like a silent partner in someone else's business, but create several cash flows. So you never have to worry about the wage gap, right? Because then the wage gap is just like, oh, whatever. Whether you want to keep your traditional job or just be like, man, I don't want to do that anymore. I'm just going to do straight other streams of income. You won't have to worry about that wage gap anymore. Or if in fact you do lose your job, like a lot of us did lose within this pandemic, you won't have to worry about that, because if you have B, C, and D streams of income, when A goes down, you still good, right? So the next thing and the last thing that I will be talking to you lovely, lovely people about is access to business investments. So my new friend, Jonas of Elevated Expectations, said something that resonated with me the other day on his town hall. So he said, if you're Black wishing to open an ackee and saltfish food truck, for my Caribbean folks out there, ackee and saltfish food truck, it would be much easier to get a loan from someone who actually understands the value of it, right? So if you run into a black bank, a white-owned bank, and you're like, hey, yeah, I want to get this loan because I want to open an ackee and sawfish stand. They're going to be like, you want to do what? What is that? I don't even know what that is. And the way that they evaluate whether they're actually going to take a chance on you and actually spend money and give you that loan is whether they find value in that business. So a white bank that doesn't understand, I want to open an ackee and sawfish food truck on Fulton Avenue, on Fulton Street, because, that's where all the Caribbean folks is at, and they're going to actually eat it and buy it. If they don't understand that aspect of that market, how can they feel comfortable in actually providing you with those funds, right? So again, a Black-owned bank is more likely to understand or try to understand your culture and to provide you adequate, right? Enough funding for you to actually build and sustain cash flow for your business, right? So not only that, but getting a mentor is important. A lot of Black entrepreneurs, and myself included, I am fully going to take a responsibility for this attitude, is we think that we can just like go at it alone, right? But you don't have to go through everything alone. You don't have to figure it out on your own. There are so many people out here who are willing to teach you, who are willing to take you through those steps, right? Maybe you have to pay a little nominal fee, or you can find free programs out there to assist you in actually getting to that point of entrepreneurship where you're turning a profit. So entrepreneurship or becoming self-employed takes a lot of work, and you could avoid a lot of pitfalls if you lean on someone who's actually been through the process and been successful, right? So including guiding you through how to get capital and fund your business, right? So a big part of the issue is also understanding the application process, right? So what kind of documents do I need? Do I actually need my business to be legitimately recognized and registered with the state? How do I do that exactly and do it the legal way? How do I figure out all of the steps to actually fill out this paperwork? Is there more paperwork that I need to provide? Do I need to have certifications for that certain business that I'm trying to open or operate, right? And so you want to make sure that you get with someone who can assist you, because a lot of entrepreneur mistakes can cost you. And you don't want to fall into business debt, especially if the whole reason you got into entrepreneurship was to get out of debt, or, to be better off financially in life. So as you can see, the racial divide is still very much alive and well. We traded physical slavery for economic slavery now, right? So a way to move past it is being diligent in learning everything we can about finances on all levels, right? Not just that one little, okay, let me go get my little job and that's the end all be all. No, that multiple streams of income, that investing in yourself, investing in stocks, investing in a business, and those kinds of things. And I just want to give you guys like some deep encouragement, right? So if me, a little Black girl from Brooklyn who has deep roots in the public assistance system, can turn around and not only purchase my first home, but establish and build 3 businesses and also have 2 shows on major streaming services, so can you, right? So can you. You can do this. So stick with me as I provide all my tips and tricks on my journey to financial freedom and spill all the tea about how your finances are affected on a local, national, and global level. So one thing I do want to tell you guys is I want to remind all of my lovely New Yorkers that primary elections are next week, Tuesday. And although I won't be dropping the tea on the candidates today, you can rest assured I will in future episodes as the election progresses. So you can have insight on what their economic plan will be for the next 4 years, right? Because whoever comes into office on the federal level, on the executive level, on the local level, which is really where you should be looking to vote more on, right? That's what we as a community need to come together and realize. Voting on the local level actually provides you with a source of change. Voting on the big, federal executive level is kind of like, he don't really control what's going on down here, right? So you guys have to start getting educated on where they're spending those economic dollars. Are they putting it into education? The whole issue with wanting to defund the police, right? So you don't want a candidate in your local office to come in and be like, yeah, so that's great, all that great stuff y'all did with the last person, but I'm just going to refund the police, right? That's not going to work. It's not going to work out. We will always have blockages if we are not actively becoming a part of the voting system on a local level, which is where that real change, where that real economic change will come from, right? So you guys have primary elections next Tuesday. I hope you get out there to those polls. Vote, 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 vote. Get us those people into office who can actually help us create that change that we need to see, right? That we are screaming and crying for. So, thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you learned some things today and will interact with me by sending in those burning financial questions you may have. I'm Queen Candace, your favorite money management specialist, and you can find me on Instagram and Facebook at The Queen Blueprint, or you can head to my website, thequeenblueprint.com, and get started on your own financial journey. So I will see you all you beautiful, beautiful, beautiful people, back here in 2 weeks for more Royal Tea. Thank you so much for tuning in.